Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Monday afternoon / evening Zoom edition. And I usually start with a Bitcoin and Ethereum review, but during our pre-recorded chat, um, Kim brought up a pretty good issue. So let's go ahead and talk to her first, and we will see if we can sort this out. If I understand you correctly, Kim, you're looking to use a VPN to you're in Texas and you want to use a VPN to access some really any exchange. Is that right?
That's correct. I bought Proton, and when I first started using it, it was okay. Except, I chose Sweden, and they were wanting to use Swedish currency. But since then, something's happened to my internet. I'm out in the country. It's a line of sight satellite, and I can't seem to get the I can't get a web browser to pull up if the VPN is on.
Okay. So I mentioned to Kim before that I just started using ExpressVPN this morning. My year subscription of Proton had um, was going to be over in a week, and I'd had some struggles with it. I really couldn't keep it on all day, like I like to, and do other things, even non-crypto related things. It just slowed down my computer too much, and that might be a function of our computers or our internet. Maybe Proton works better in other parts of the country or other countries, but at least for me here in suburban Phoenix, it wasn't working that well. Kim is having a similar problem in rural Texas, so I'm interested in what other options you guys are using. A couple of our peeps are not in the country, so it may not be an issue for them. But if you have some suggestions on things you've used before, I'd like to hear them. But we may not have enough people on the Zoom to really go over that thoroughly. So yeah, all I can suggest is Express. Some other traders I know like it and say it's faster than other things they've used. That could be an option.
I
Once you get
use
your, go ahead.
I use Express.
Okay.
It's the only VPN I ever use. I've never ever tried any other. Never thought I would need to.
Yeah, I've Express is I think my third one that I've paid for, and I've got a free one that I can use for a short period of time, but it doesn't stay connected very long. It'll get me into, Bybit or BitGet or something like that. That's foreign, but if I were to leave it on for more than a couple hours, it would drop. So I can't really recommend that one. But
When you use these things, is you using a United States address.
well, not if you're going to access another exchange. If you're Yeah, I've never had to use a VPN to access Coinbase. Is that what you're trying to connect
No,
to?
I mean I can get Coinbase. I can't even get Binance, and I just got kicked off KuCoin.
Okay. Well, Binance, you have to pass KYC now. So
Okay,
a VPN's not could help you with that. There's also you can email me cryptocj13@gmail.com regarding the island of Palu digital citizenship.
okay.
You can become a digital citizen of an island nation out in, I think it's somewhere between Australia and the Philippines or something. But I've done that. A lot of people in another trading group I'm in have done that. And I was able to pass KYC on Bybit, BitGet, and eventually KuCoin. I was not able to pass it on Binance, but with those other three, I was able to get in. So bear in mind when you use a VPN to access a foreign exchange, that can be risky. You're going to have little to no recourse if something goes askew. Where if you're a citizen of the U.S. and you have an issue with Coinbase, which is registered and regulated by U.S. law, then you'd have some presumably legal recourse if something went really horrible. But You know, like I like to trade leverage, and you can't really do that in the US very easily.
I thought for the most part that you really had no recourse at all, even with Coinbase being registered here. I thought you were out there on your own.
Well, it's an American company under American law. So I was a paralegal for 20 years. I think of legal recourse if, you know, if my money gets, if they mishandle something and you know, $2,000 of USD disappears or something like that, you know, I feel like I'd have some standing to pursue a matter with Coinbase. I've never had any trouble with them, but I know others have from time to time, like any other large institution. So, but yeah, being in Texas, sometimes even connecting to Coinbase can be a problem. So,
Yeah, they seem to have it really locked down here, and I'm just not really understanding why. So there's like 5 states that I can't even believe we're participating with Illinois and New York. So
I know what the
like I can expect them to do that, but not Texas. So you know,
Texas is hanging out with the blue states, but don't get us
yeah,
started on that.
that's it's bad news. So
Yeah. Well, we could talk for hours about how disgusted we are with our government interfering with our ability to acquire and trade cryptocurrencies. It's our money. We should be able to do with it what we want. But in short, the SEC and the CFTC think we're too stupid to manage our own money and trade it and accept the consequences. So there's
if I
that.
wanted a safety net, I wouldn't be on crypto. So it's kind of the
Mhm.
way I look at it. So
Yeah. Well, um, I hope that helps at least a little. Express VPN seems to be a better option if you're not tied into Proton too long, or if you can get a refund, you know, maybe try Express and see if you have a better result with it. There are some free options as well that are internet based. I don't know if those would work for you any more or any better than what you have now, but you can check it out. All right, anything else on the VPN before we start the program as usual? Well, thanks for sharing that. Let's go to the chart. We had a pump late last night, early this morning on Bitcoin, and then it gave most of it back. If you look on this is the day chart, still trading between these zones. If you look on the 15-minute though, Bart Simpson is back. So big pump here, sideways move, gave it back. So this is the squarehead notorious Bart Simpson. Look, let's see, how do I draw that again? Yeah, that's what I want. So kind of like this. Not perfect, but that's what it looks like to me. But we are still above where we were. So, I mean, when this pump started, say pick up the spot here, you know, we're up almost 3.5% down, gave back most of it, shot up again. So we're still up 1.3% today, which is pretty good for Bitcoin. And on Ethereum, it looks pretty similar. Day chart here, low ranges, high range. I just redid this one between 1550 and 1600, and then up here 1850. We haven't seen that in a while. On the 15-minute chart, yeah, Bart's not quite as square as Bitcoin was, but that's what we're looking at on those two. But overall, up for the day. Any questions, comments, headlines, prognostications, irresponsible rumors, anything like that you want to discuss before we move over to day trading? Okay. Let's get started. We'll check out Altcoin Alert, look for some potential day trades, and then we'll head over to iCoinPro. Before I forget, iCoinPro is doing some interesting new things. And I'll probably talk about that more next week. I didn't quite get qualified for it on Friday like I'd hoped. had a credit card problem, not their fault, that was mine. But anyway, we'll get started with Altcoin Alert for now. Okay, I'm going to reload, update. I'm on the altcoin radar option. And I'm going to sort by AA score. It's what I like to look at first. Solana has really been pumping. Up 5% today, 84.5 score. I haven't seen a Solana score like that in quite a while. So that's probably worth a look. Yeah, I don't really see anything else jumping out at me. So, though we do have several scores above 80, so that's cool. Let's check out Solana. Get rid of divergence for the moment. 5-minute chart. And you can see I've been making some maker trades today. Okay, so on the 5-minute, we had that pump from the wee hours of the morning here, around 2:30. Probably between about midnight and 8 Pacific time. At the moment, we're pretty close to the SMA line here on the Bollinger Bands. Not really where I'd want to get in. Got some support here at around 1950. That could be a good entry. And then before the pump, we were here around 1910. So those could be potential price alerts. And to do that, right click on your chart, add an alert, and go with AA score is what I usually call it. For this is my information source. Notifications, notify an app, show pop-up, and play sound is what I usually do. And then you're good to go. But that's not what I do very often. I prefer indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. And we're going to see if we can catch a dip in a retrace or a pump in a retrace. Those tend to be good trades, good entry points. And at the moment, we are towards the top of the range. I'm using my supply and demand visible range, which with Lux Algo. It's a free indicator they provide. And it'll give me it'll tell me where people are anticipating buying and selling. It's far from perfect, but it has helped. The last few weeks I've been using it. I was doing divergence this morning, looking at it, and it wasn't doing that well, but actually it's looking pretty good on Solana, at least on the long side. Each bullish divergence has done well. I'm usually looking to get 1% move on 10x leverage. If you're a spot trader, you may look for a larger move, 2 to 3% on your spot chart. So let's see if we can evaluate both options. The last bullish divergence that triggered was last night with the trend up. You know, it's not gonna trigger these because divergence is a contrarian type indicator. We're gonna look for it has some predictive ability. Sometimes it works better than others. To be candid, I've been using mostly the supertrend today, but we'll go ahead and evaluate bullish divergence for the moment. Yeah, that would have been a good entry. That would have triggered in the green zone and then had that nice run up I probably would have been looking at this area back here for some guidance as a take profit. So a little over 2%. I would have been out in an hour and a half with that kind of trade on the spot trade. But on my third-party software that I use, I would have gotten out with 1% at 10x leverage. So those would have been good trades. If you're trading leverage and you're trying to do some shorts up here, maybe you get out on that one if you're using the 1% approach. Let's look and see where the range was at the time. So yeah, it would have been in the red range. So I would have taken that one, probably had to make some additional purchases to make that trade work. Pump up here, about 2%, and then get up. So that would have been an okay trade for me. I would have gotten an additional purchase at around the 2% mark, and then came back down, break even on my first trade, and make 2% on the second. So for 1% average of the two trades, what we call ladder buying or dollar cost averaging. Let's see if super trend would have been better. Oh, turned off the wrong thing. So super trend looks a bit better. This entry on Sunday in the wee hours, not that good, but it would have caught this move a few hours later. The sell here, if you're trading leverage, not bad. Let's see where it was on the range when it triggered. I probably wouldn't have taken that. It's right in the middle between the ranges. So that would have excluded that trade for me. On this, that's a good buy entry. Though it's a big, I don't know, it's sitting at the middle at the time it triggers, so I'm not sure about that one. Though all the indicators like it. This entry here, RSI, RTI are all pumping, and squeeze momentum just turns over. So probably I would have taken that trade with all those factors in my favor. Does make a nice move up, and then we get this sell at 10:30 this morning Pacific time, and probably still be in that trade. Quick review on how to do an alert on supertrend. Add your alert. If you're trading spot, you're going to go with the buy. If you're trying to short it, you go with the sell. If you're doing both directions, like I do, direction change. Once per bar close. And that's still a score. And then you're good to go on your supertrend Solana alert. All right, let's look at the RSI approach, see if that would have been better. Looking for values that dip below 30 and then come back up. That's considered oversold. If that goes above 70, that's considered overbought. When it comes back, that can be a good entry. But when the market's trending up hard, sometimes these entries aren't that good. So let's check them out. Got a cross here. And that looks like a good entry there on the long. If it doesn't quite get what you want, it's gonna dip down, then you'll catch whatever you're looking for up there. So let's see. I'm not sure if that would have crossed. This one looks like it does. And again, nice entry on a long. This one looks troublesome. Let's see where it crosses above the 70 and then dips a bit below. Let's see where we were on the range. That would have kept me out. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. Haven't reached the range yet. Might have used that to exclude that one. Got another one here. And we're in the range at that time, so I probably would have taken that one. And would have gone against me at first, and then come back down. Probably got out right about there, like when I showed you the divergence option. So a couple other entries here that catch this move down. So the RSI of the ones we've looked at seems to be the best one. And we got some background noise. Okay. So I like RSI on Solana. Any questions on this setup before we look for something else? Okay, so that was all the AA score. Social activity, which is another good sort. I like to match that up with trading activity and then investigate further from there. So I've got 2 fires here on stacks. I like stacks. It moves pretty well. OGN, I've got some history with that. Ren, Link, Storage. Trading Storage a lot lately. Let's look at stacks, STX. Okay, I'll go to the 5-minute to start. See if we can find, probably not gonna find any dip sequences with today's move up. Do have a short-term support here at 0.456. And again, at 0.4788, pretty close to that one already. So you might want to try one or both of those as price alerts. On the 15-minute chart, divergence. Again, the bullish ones look good. We did have a bullish one go off at noon today. And it made a nice 1% move. So I wish I would have seen stacks earlier. It didn't show up on my radar this morning. The short options. Yeah, I would not have taken that one. It's in the middle between the zones. And this one triggers here. And where are we? Yeah, still not there. So I would have used my ranges to bypass those 2 bad trades and taken the, I don't know how I would have taken the this one. Yeah, I would not have taken this one either. So these 3 I would have bypassed. I probably would have taken one or 2 of these. So divergence looks pretty good. Supertrend looks pretty similar to what else we've seen. That sell would have been pretty good. Looks like about 2%. Then the buy, the first one doesn't work out that well, but eventually you catch this big move. So Supertrend looks pretty good on this one. RSI. Get across here. Eventually catch that move. Another one here. So a little better entry on that. And then you had the big pump above it, and then it dips below on a short. Probably a winner there too. Yeah. So if you're looking for a bigger move, like all the way down here, the support area, you'd still be in that trade, but as far as a 1% move, it looks good. So the RSI seems to be the best approach on this one. And let me remind you how to do an alert on the RSI. So right click in here, add an alert. If you're trading on spot, you're going to be crossing up on the 30 value. That's considered the oversold area. You may want to, you can tweak that. You can say 28 or 32 or something like that if that's what the charts are telling you, but 30 is my go-to. Once per bar close. And I think we're on the social activity sort now. So you type that in, or whatever you want to call it. And if you want to trade both directions, like I usually do, we're going to enter a channel. And we're going to define the channel. So 70 here, 30 here. I'm going to go ahead and take this alert so I can run you through the process. Social activity sort. And on my notifications, I'm going to notify on my phone app, show a pop-up on my computer. I'm going to play a sound. And the RSI, I usually go with a chirpy. Click create, and then I'm good to go on stacks. Any questions on this before we head over to, I think we're going to move over to iCoinPro. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, this is the Buddy Coin Crawler. I like this tool. I like the RSI Spy to help me find potential trades. This has a column for the 1 hour RSI. So if something's below 30, it's usually due for a comeback. It's above 70, it's usually due for a pullback. We don't have any values below 30, which is rare. So that means we're not going to find any spot trades necessarily using this approach. If I sort the other direction for something to short, we got Blue Zell. This one's been pumping lately. But I'm trying to include the spot traders as well, so I'll probably bypass that for now. And sometimes this happens. You go to the RSI Spy and there's nothing that really comes up. I this morning only was able to pull one trade out of here. Remember what it was, but the other, actually, I think I went to the Buddy Coin Crawler, and that's the other thing. That'll tell me what's moving for the day. It doesn't tell me which direction it's moving, but the average low to SMA is the 24-hour low to the and then to the SMA lines, that red line between the Bollinger Bands on my charts. So when there's a high number here, that means something's moving, pumping or dumping, or even a large range sometimes. And a lot of these I really haven't heard of or trade that often. Acro, TRB, I've heard of. WorldCoin's been in the news, but now we're getting below 4%. 4% is about my cutoff usually. So let's look at TRB. It's got this cool drop-down menu. Click Trading View and you'll get a Trading View chart. But it'll take you to the layout that you've used before or most recently. Well, let's see what it does. It may not take me to where, it may not use a layout I want to use. So I was doing some setups on auto trading before. All right, it's bringing up my basic chart. That's not going to have the ranges and stuff. So I'm going to bail on that one and just go to it manually, which I thought I had on my list, but I do not. Okay, you can trade the USD version on Coinbase. There's a perpetual contract on Bybit, which is something you can trade on leverage, and BitGet as well. So yeah, let's look at the Coinbase option. Okay, 5-minute chart. Yeah, at the top of the range, not where I'd want to get in. No dip sequence. It hasn't had one. This is kind of close to a dip sequence here, but not really. I like to show an example of the 1, 2, 3 dip, which is one of my favorite trading strategies, but we haven't, due to the pump today, we're not really seeing many examples of that. Quick note on this one. There's some support, short-term support here at about 28.25, and that might be a place to put a price alert if you want. The 15-minute divergence doesn't look that good. Yeah. These two bearish ones are from Saturday afternoon. It didn't really participate that much in the pump today. I guess these aren't bad. These we don't know yet. But okay, there's large movement. When I move that, that's shorter distance on my chart at 7%. That means it's really been moving. And yeah, so that would have been a good, good spot trade there. Any of these. Let's look at the ranges when those started to trigger. Yeah, so this one here would have been in the range when it triggered on a long, and the range would have dropped a little bit. So I probably would have bought in here bought again here, and just eventually gotten out in this vicinity here. So these are better than I thought. But none of these shorts are really close to the top of the range because the range is way up here above $43. So yeah, you could take these shorts and ignore the range. That's a little risky. I'm trying to get better entries myself. But all those would have worked out at some point. All the shorts, that one here, a small move, this one here. Yeah. So you could trade these shorts as well and ignore the range, but that would be inconsistent for me, at least lately. Okay, let's look at the RSI approach. And we have this pump that looks good. This dip looks good. And then these pumps, that would not have been a good entry. But some of these would have been. That's another entry there. And we get another one here, which is better. They're getting better as we move to the right. And there's another one here. if I haven't gotten out of trades, I've been using these additional triggers sometimes to make additional purchases. I've only been doing it a short time, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, these down here would have done fine. And this dip here would have been good as well. So RSI looks pretty good on this. Any questions on TRB? Okay. And then on the Buddy Coin Crawler, another one we could look at. I've not looked at Acropolis in quite a while. Well, let's look at something I've never looked at, like this WorldCoin, WLD. Look at this as strictly spot. I thought this was on Coinbase. There's a perpetual contract and Bybit. Interesting. Let's look at it on no. None of these are going to be accessible really for most of the traders on here who trade spot. So we'll look at a different option.
Got a question.
Okay.
On the ones that say all the ones on perpetual contract, is that all ones you can use leverage on?
Yes.
Okay. Some of the ones that don't say that you can also use leverage on. So they're just marked differently for that particular exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's what we were looking at WorldCoin. So all these WLDs are ways to trade it. So this one here on Binance just says US dollar. If I put T in here, it might come up as a leverage option too. Yeah, here's the perpetual contract on Binance. And then you could do it on, Bybit as well, which is what I use. BitGet. So MaxC, some of my trading friends use it. BingX. That's actually something I wanted to suggest to you, Kim, is that you can trade on BingX without a VPN for now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but you might want to look at that exchange.
Okay.
I've traded on it some. I've done maybe a dozen trades on it, and they've gone fine. But
No trouble getting in and out.
nope. Okay, but and then the ones without a perpetual contract or perpetual swap, these are where you're trading contracts, not the actual token. You're trading a contract on the token. That's how most leverage platforms work. But on these others where there's not a reference to that, these are the actual tokens that you're trading.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're here. Let's look at KuCoin. Five-minute chart. Big pump. And gave a lot of it back with the Bitcoin move. I was going to say we're already at short-term support at the moment. I see some more in this vicinity around 132, and then again down here at 127 and change. So those are potential price options. With our indicators, we'll look for bullish divergence. Looks like all those did pretty well. Yeah, getting some really nice moves. Like here, you see resistance here at about 152.6, and again up here at about 163. Had I gotten in here, just based on this, I probably would have looked for this area here at 5.4%. 5 hours, that's a really good day trade. I turned off my range. There we go. Let's see if that would have been in the range at the time. No, probably wouldn't have taken that one then. How about this one? Downside of using multiple indicators is sometimes they screen out good trades. So that one's not good. And eventually, if you just be patient, would have gotten better entries down here. So not the end of the world. There's always another trade coming along. So don't FOMO into anything ever. Trying to see when that would have been in the range. Pretty close here. So yeah, it's in the range on this one, and then you get a really, a perfect entry pretty much. So you get in here, the midline is here. There's pretty obvious resistance here. So, I'd be looking to get somewhere around here as my exit, 5%, less than 3 hours. Love it. So I'm gonna have to consider this one as something to trade on spot. Like what I see. So bullish divergence looks pretty good here. Super trend. Yeah, that's a really good entry, but it's only one. So I would have been interested in this one because it dips into the zone and then comes back up. RTI is trending up, RSI is trending up, and I've got green on the squeeze momentum, but none of these are strong confirmation signals. So I would have been ready to get in again as it goes mostly sideways for a while, and then it catches that move and pumps up nicely. So
Can I make a comment?
sure.
Okay, as you know, I look at RTI a lot. When you look at where it swings down, and then you see that red dipping down, and then as you go to the right, there's a tinier blip, and then even a tinier blip. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That shows divergence with the price. So when I see that swing down getting smaller, even though the price is going down, then I start looking for a reversal. Now, how fast it comes depends on, what time frame you're on. If you're 2 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, maybe you don't want to sit around that long and wait for it. But that makes me want to take that buy on the trend, and you see the green line begins moving up towards the 50 line, 50% line there, and it's above the blue line. So I look for divergence, and you can see it also on the RSI, but it really jumps out with the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I will start to look for, a change in the direction.
Okay.
Or-
Frank knows the RTI better than me. It's his idea to add this, and I was looking for another confirmation indicator anyway. So it's worked out. I'm using it a little different than him, but how do you? So if you're using this, are you using this to initiate a trade? If so, is there a way to put an alert on it, or what?
I haven't put alerts on it. But when I like I say, when I see divergence on that, and then I get a trend, how whatever trend indicator you want to use that gives you a buy, I start looking for a move. If you go back to Solana, there's a perfect one there. It's really obvious. So I don't know if you want to. And again, I hate hijacking your Zoom, but
well, if you have a new way to use an indicator I have, then I want to know about it. But
okay, so towards the right there, you see the real big red where it dips down, and the next one isn't as far down, but you look up at the price and you see a new lower low, and then you get that buy signal, and then you get the Velez elephant bar big jump up. I would have been looking for a move like that once I saw that green buy signal pop on there. That's, now I didn't, because I wasn't paying attention today to Solana, but and then I would stay in the whole time all the way up to the top, because you're above that 50% line. You're still green, you're still showing green, and then you would consider getting out on the sell signal, or just because you reach the top of the range, that's a 180 in the Velez vernacular. It's a 180. You have an engulfing sort of candle at such an extreme, and I would look to get out. So I would have taken that whole range, measured the range. What's the percent on that?
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. So to the range, it's 4.5%. So if you take it down to the sell, it's 3%. So those are both good day trades. So
right, but you see that it stays up once it stays above that dashed white line, the 50% line. It's telling you you're in an uptrend. So I would just stay in as long as it stays above that 50% dashed white line, and I would have taken the whole range for 3 or 4%. I probably would have thought about getting out even before the sell signal popped, but for sure, once that sell signal popped up there, I would have got out. So 3 or 4%. And if you're on leverage, obviously, you know what that does.
Yeah. Frank is a much better swing trader than I am. I don't have the patience to do what he just described. So for me, I would have looked at this area here of resistance and probably gotten out here with around 1.6, 2%. But, he would have hung in there longer and made more. So,
Well, I do trade the 2 minute a lot more than the 5 or the 15.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily have been in as long as that looked, and I might not have gotten that same amount. I may have, but I tend to use other time frames as well.
So on the 2 minute, and this goes off.
Right.
Now we don't have as aggressive move, and we're running a little out of time, so we might have to pick this up again in the future. But yeah, I'm open to new things to talk about on this approach, on trading, and Frank's approach is certainly worth talking about on the more of a short-term swing trader approach. So thank you for that. Well, we're at a pretty good stopping place here, about 40 minutes and change. Anything else before we sign off? Okay, quick announcement. I will be out of town on Friday and Monday. So my next trading Zoom will be a week from Friday. I will see you then. If you are a Carbon member, I will do that Zoom starting in about 10 minutes. We'll see you then. Have a good one.